Oh my god, my screen freaked out for a moment there. I was like, oh! Don't you crash on me, Starcraft 2. I'm doing it daily. And of course, in my 5 gateways, I expand here. And what else am I doing? I'm getting a forge. I'm hiding my warp gates back here. Because again, you can make warp gates anywhere. I try to be clever and plant my sentries at the front to do some sort of force field action. But of course, doesn't quite work. And he's doing some other fancy junk in the middle of the map. But for the most part, he's getting 2 factories for 2 sets of tanks. And 2 factories with reactors for 2 sets of double Hellion. And he's doing this obnoxious stuff with Ravens where he just floats around and throws down these auto turrets. Very easy harassment to do. I'm actually building cannons here. And he like throws this down. And, oh god, look at him just roast all my probes there. And see, with his harassment, he's already pulled way ahead. He was actually doing a little bit of harassment up here, hence I made a cannon. Not really managing this so well, you know, so this was game 1 of our many games that we played. I mean, I had a good opening, and he was just like, wow, yeah, your opening works out really great. Now, I want you to note that by the StarCraft 1 sense, this is not that many tanks. This is 9 tanks. And, of course, this is patch 14, not patch 15. So these bad boys do 60 damage to ground. There's the 60 damage. So, of course, my stalkers, I was like, back up, and they were like, are you sure you don't want us to do something else? And I was like, no. Zealots die to Hellions so fast. In fact, Zealots die to Mech so fast. Very counterintuitive, because if any of you have played Brood War, you will note that Zealots are, of course, king against Mech, getting in there to bust tank lines. And even if you have lots and lots and lots and lots of Zealots, you can bust Vultures pretty easily in the late game as well. But either way, I'm morphing in tons of Zealots. You'll note that I now have 1,000,000 gateways, right? I have 5 here in my main. I have some in front. I'm just going for the mass Zealot count. Mass unit count. Look at him with his 9 kills. I'm going to have to build another photon cannon because I'm just like, God, this is awful. And he's just slowly working his way forward. He's eventually going to plant tanks here. And I want you to note how unbelievably not close this battle is going to be. So 130 versus 150. I'm throwing my Guardian Shield. This is almost funny that I'm doing this because this is dropping the tank damage from 60 to 58. So did you see this? How he's okay? So he dropped 10 food and I dropped my whole army. Did you guys see that? That is less than ideal. So of course I was like, never give up, never surrender. So that was game 1, and a lot of it is because this positioning that he has over here by his high ground area that makes it very, very difficult to deal with. So I'm actually going to go to yet another game that we played. Let's see here. Yeah, here's the long one. And so what are some solutions that you can think of? So first, I do a White Raw style split, of course sending my probes wherever the hell that my probes want to go at that time. And then I'm now making my pylon. Again, I don't need a scout very early at all, because I only need to get there just in time to see his tech lab. So of course I build a gateway, send him right back. I build a simulator, oh, then I scout. And of course him, doing the exact same thing. He makes 1 Marine, makes the reactor add-on. That's great. I come over here, we do a little sparring here, we try to do a run around, but of course I end up with a Zealot, yeah, making them back off. And of course I'm getting my Twilight Council, and of course this is a mistake as well, building the Dark Shrine here when I could easily just build it here, which is an adjustment I make. Little tiny changes going on, but basically the same sort of stuff. Oh, I'm setting up my expansion before the DTs end up getting all the way done. Ooh, very fancy of me. And then of course I miss a pylon. So finally those get up. But of course because he's scanned, he just sees that I have Dark Templar. I try to be sneaky. Ooh, hiding a Dark Templar here. And I'm really liking this surge forward with a ton of warp gates right after you get this expansion up. I'm thinking that's pretty cool. One adjustment that I make from game 1 to game 2 is I said, oh, you know, I know he's going mech because he's straight up saying, hey, I'm going mech. So I got this robotics facility for the observer just to make sure I could get in there and poke into his base and check out what's up. And in this game I'm starting to think to myself, man, wow, yeah, you know, I just don't really think that Zealots are going to be cutting it. I honestly am making even too many sentries here. I would just like to state it for the record that was totally awesome and intentional by me, and it was pretty nice. Yeah, just trapping those tanks out front. Yeah, he's throwing down auto turrets. Whatever, Jinro, you Swedish Swede. Rather than say anything insulting, I can just say exactly what his nationality is in a very angry tone. I figure I can get away with that much. So of course doing some zapping action. And these point defense drones are the most annoying thing in the universe because they basically make stalkers useless. So that is something that I want to note this game. So again, this Marine and a tank and a Raven is good because it lets you kind of alley-oop up into the factory play. You can just lift this barracks and then plant a factory down and you're in great shape. But the Ravens I really think are super important. Not just for the detection aspect, but because basically Hellions are going to shut down Zealots so badly. I mean, they already do 14 damage versus Light, and once you get them upgraded, they do 24 damage against Light, so they just rip through your Zealots super fast. And with the point defense drones, now your Stalkers are feeling a little bit useless too, so it's really hard to get the Stalkers all the way in there. But regardless, I'm still going for my 5 gateway action. Now I'm going to be whacking this down, trying to keep good tabs on what's up here. Here comes more of this Raven harassment. So in this game, I'm trying to get less cannons and trying to just get more of making Stalkers at my back door. And of course, I want to open up this resource counting station, because again, look, I'm ahead. I'm ahead 20 food. My opening is pretty sweet. And look at this. Okay, so he sees this. I might be confusing this with another game. In one of these games, he just throws down 2 auto turrets and a point defense drone, and continues to harass anyways, and it ends up working really well. I mean, look at how annoying this is with this Raven support. This is so strong. And of course, I'm trying to be all cute and run all my units around. Where are you? And of course, he's just skirting around to get to the map. Yeah, look at this. So annoying, and he's like target firing my probes, and of course I don't move my probes because I'm awful. Here comes the Nexus, expanding there. Yeah, my Stalker's marching around, just trying to find those Ravens. Where are you, Raven? I'm just getting lost over here. Should probably be a little bit better about spotting here, but God, look at how far ahead I am. Unbelievable. God, more harassment here. He's such a beast at this. So, my thought is that, hell, if I can get to this setup where I get these 3 bases, and now notice how the food gap's closing. It's 125 to 105, so I'm still ahead food-wise, but I'm thinking to myself, now how do I avoid this? I really just need to have Stalkers kind of planted here. I really should skip this forge. I mean, I'm getting the upgrade because I don't want to make my forge entirely one-dimensional, but I'm still thinking to myself, maybe it's the later stage of the game. Maybe it's that I need to get more Stalkers because I had so many Zealots at the start, and of course Jinro pointed out that sentries get 2-shotted pretty easily by tanks. Sentries just get demolished by tanks. Hellions, anything that comes out of a factory, sentries do less than amazing against. Great versus infantry though. And here's just a subtle technique that Jinro's doing in this game, is that he actually walls himself in at the front. He's been doing this in all the games, but I figure I would point out 2 or 3 things in each game that was going at times 6 speed. But he walls himself in, and anytime I start pushing, he just packs tanks right here, and there's really not that much of a chance of me busting through. So what he does is he busts down the back door, and here is the key tactical position of the map, is this area right here. This is super narrow. There's a bush here, and he has Ravens, so we can see over it. He can plant tanks up here, and it completely constricts any sort of movement that I have. He can easily get vision with the Zelnaga Watchtower, and it's pretty hard for me to poke through here because I do have to battle up high ground. The only big counterattack opportunity I have is all the way over here, and remember, he can just pack tanks there. And of course, getting the sensor tower helps a lot as well. So I am now throwing down tons of gateways. He's trying to do some harassment, but of course on day 9, I'm just not cutting it. Get the blink, pop in there, and here's another thing that I just want to note. So I'm going to pop in here, and I blinked in here, and this seemed good to me at the time, but I'm starting to think that this is less than good, because if I blink up here, then all the tanks that are way back here can start firing as well. And look at these annoying point defense drones. Urgh. They just zap down all my Stalker fire. So literally, like, none of my Stalkers are doing damage. I'm trying to get in here with my Zealots, just like, please die. And look at how big of a loss I am after that battle. That was not good for me in the slightest. These point defense drones are still gaining energy slowly, and he's just like landing. He doesn't care. So I'm morphing in more Stalkers, morphing in more. Trying to get around here, and I think I start making a Colossus at some point. I know I do this game at least, and here, of course, my paranoid Stalker placement. Don't want to lose to those auto turrets. Yeah, there's my Robo Bay going down there right now. So I managed to blink up. Yeah, picking off Ravens, feeling fancy. But I mean, this area is very difficult to deal with. So we're going to see me barely hold. Here comes the just almost hold. Look at this mass stalker. Yeah, blinking up. I don't think so, Tank. See ya. And here comes the planetary fortress, and I'm like, kill the planetary fortress, kill it. Oh god, please. And I just barely kill it, and I'm like, easiest game in the world. Go back to Sweden, Jinro. Got him. Drank my clever juice. So here comes the Colossus. Am I getting ranged? Yeah, alright, I'm feeling on top of my game, right? So, again, after that exchange, as we were saying at the start of the game, and as we would probably say right now, I'm looking reasonably much ahead. Of course, here comes a gigantic botch where these guys get trapped, and then I'm like, oh yeah, here have some probes as well. I'm not moving my stalkers quite yet. First, I want to make sure he can kill off as many probes as possible, and that my slow zealots can do as little as possible. Whoopsie daisies. And then he just leaves. Less than ideal. And then I'm just like, okay,